Deep beneath the grand decks of the RMS Titanic, far removed from the elegance and comfort experienced by passengers, existed a world defined by heat, noise, and relentless physical effort. Please subscribe. This was the domain of the boiler rooms, a place where the ship's power was created, and where some of the most demanding work on board took place. The boiler rooms were the heart of Titanic's energy system. Here, massive boilers burned coal to produce the steam that powered the ship's engines. But behind this process was a workforce operating under extreme conditions, maintaining the fires that kept everything running. The environment inside these spaces was intense. Temperatures were high, driven by the constant burning of coal in the furnaces. The heat was not occasional, it was continuous, surrounding the workers at all times. Combined with limited airflow and the confined nature of the space, it created an atmosphere that required endurance and resilience. The work itself was physically demanding. Firemen were responsible for shoveling coal into the furnaces, a task that required strength, rhythm, and precision. Each shovel of coal contributed to maintaining the heat needed for steam production. The pace had to be steady too slow, and the fire would weaken. Too fast, and conditions could become unstable. Trimmers worked alongside them, managing the coal supply in the bunkers. They ensured that coal was available where it was needed, breaking it apart and moving it through the ship. Their work was equally important, supporting the continuous flow of fuel to the boilers. Noise was another constant presence. The sound of machinery, the roar of the fires, and the movement of equipment created an environment where communication was challenging. Workers had to rely on signals, experience, and coordination to perform their tasks effectively. Despite these challenges, the boiler rooms operated with a sense of structure and routine. Shifts were organized to ensure that the system remained active at all times. Workers rotated in and out, balancing periods of intense labor with brief moments of rest. This structure allowed the ship to maintain a steady output of steam throughout its journey. The conditions also required awareness and control. Managing the fires was not just about adding fuel, it was about maintaining balance. The heat, pressure, and airflow all had to be monitored to keep the system operating safely. This added a level of responsibility to the work, requiring both physical effort and attention to detail. The contrast between the boiler rooms and the upper decks of the RMS Titanic is one of the most striking aspects of life on board. While passengers experienced comfort and luxury, the crew in these lower levels worked in conditions that were far more demanding. Both worlds existed simultaneously, connected by the operation of the ship. When the situation changed during the final hours, the boiler rooms became part of a rapidly evolving environment. The same spaces that had been used for routine work were affected by the developing conditions, and the role of the workers shifted as they responded to the circumstances around them. Looking back, the boiler rooms of Titanic provide a powerful perspective on the human effort behind large-scale engineering. They show that even the most advanced systems depend on people and their work, their coordination, and their ability to function under pressure. They also highlight the realities of industrial life during that era. The conditions, while extreme by modern standards, were part of how large machines were operated at the time. Understanding this context helps us see the full picture of how the ship functioned. More than a century later, the story of Titanic's boiler rooms continues to resonate. It is not just a story of machinery, but of the people who worked within it, their effort, their environment, and their role in the larger system. In the end, the boiler rooms of the RMS Titanic were more than just a place. They were a world of their own. A place of heat, effort, and constant motion. A hidden side of the ship that few ever saw. And deep below the surface, in those intense conditions, the true power of Titanic was created not just by machines, but by the people who kept them running.